All right, everyone. We start off today, of course, talking about the FAA outage that happened the other day. The NOTAM system decided to get a little bit wonky. There's two links in the description, both archived. First, Buttigieg very belatedly weighed in on it, countermanding, I think, what had already been put out by the administration at first and has since been effectively ruled out, at least by some people. Secondly, there is a COPE article. There is some propaganda that we've got to talk about. By the way, if I seem a little bit tired, I am, because the other day we were traveling. I actually got to see Germany, Munster specifically. Good food, by the way, nice architecture. Kind of prefer the Netherlands overall, though, I will say. A little bit more laid back than Germany is, and it's just sort of my bag, because I tend to be, I'm a hippie. I'm the goth hippie, or, whatever. Anyway, the Biden-Buttigieg outage was preventable. Just to be clear, even if we analyze the COPE article, even then, there would have been a way that this could have been avoided. Now, his Buttigieg's address was effectively, well, don't worry, it won't happen again. When queried on this, he effectively just reiterated that same point several times. There was cope immediately with Mayor Pete. He was trending triple on Twitter the other day. When I get back, of course, I happen to travel on the day that something massive like this happens, and so I couldn't make like a breaking news stream, which is regrettable. I would have liked to have done that, but you got to get cheese somewhere, so it's important. Of course it would happen on that specific day. It's great. Anyway, Mayor Petey, he's in a little bit of doo-doo. He's actually facing questions even from the liberal news media, the legacy media core, on this issue, and getting dragged to some degree for that. He came out and said, well, we're not ruling out the possibility that it was a cyber attack. Now, that has effectively been ruled out specifically because the NOTAM system that was involved, they managed to find apparently a damaged file that was running with this program. And it has to do with error alerts for pilots, etc. I won't get into the nitty-gritty of exactly how it works because most people wouldn't give a damn. Basically, if you can't warn people about possible issues at the airport or up in the air or on the ground anywhere else, you can't really have the flights going. The FAA will ground everything because the system's not working. Now, this system apparently is so fragile that a single file got corrupted, and that caused the entire system to stop working, causing the delaying and cancellation of over 10,000 flights the other day for several hours. They've resumed operations now, but I have a feeling, a sneaking suspicion, it'll take a few days for everything to get back to 100%, or the 92% or whatever that air travel actually tends to work at. And that's because now you have a backlog of different flights. You have to reshuffle literally everything. Now, the COPE article here, it includes an interesting insertion that really is not particularly relevant to the particular situation here. And that's, well, the pilots and everyone that works in aviation already hates NOTAM because it's always overloading them with information and it's basically fucked up. Can I please ask this then? Supposedly, this is the adults are back in charge administration, correct? And the Transport Secretary Buttigieg knows everything. I mean, he's really great with trains. He can run those regularly. That's fine. Apparently knows less about air travel. Since you've had 2 years, why has there never been any form of report to the public on the jeopardies and fragilities of NOTAM and the necessity of funding a replacement? To replace it, or at least to repair the problems that apparently the entire aviation industry has about it. Why did the adults are back in charge Transport Secretary not address the issue? Well, certainly you would have been aware of it. I would assume you're the Transport Secretary. You're in charge of these things, at least on paper. Now, I will say one thing. Jumping down Buttigieg's throat, pardon the pun, doesn't make a whole lot of sense. One thing you do have to realize is that micromanagement at that top bureau level is not really a thing. So he's getting reports regularly and maybe did not know that this was concerning. But he should have. Because supposedly the people in the Biden administration are top-notch. This is the quality A-team. Well, I mean, if you're going by that metric, you seem to have a whole lot of problems Look at the Afghanistan withdrawal for another example of their great strategic wisdom. So, I mean, you can criticize him on that token because of the hypocrisy involved. If this had happened under the Trump administration, there'd be 1,000 memes right now about, I can't remember who Transport Sec was under Trump, being a buffoon, and he's a diversity hire. He was hired by the orange orangutan Hitler, and was carpetbagged in. This has happened before. The FEMA director under Bush, for example. That was a big sticking point after Hurricane Katrina. You got a FEMA director who has been carpetbagged in, does not have the proper skills, does not have the proper means, and has basically overlooked the situation, and an administration that very callously came out and said, don't worry about it. This is basically the same thing as what's happening with the FAA outage, though. There's a Buttigieg saying, don't worry, we will never let anything dangerous happen. We won't let anything like this happen again. One file on this system went down, and it managed to ground 10,000 flights. You should probably address it with more vigor. But he's not, and he won't be pushed to. The legacy media briefly will ask questions. They will get no assurances. And what we've seen from the Biden administration, typically when something like this happens, the individual that's getting grilled disappears for a while. Buttigieg will effectively take a month-long holiday, sit in his office away from reporters, and not address the issue. You'll get some quiet closure at some point in the future. They'll release, a 2-page document on their multi-billion-dollar program to replace NOTAM over the next 20 years or something like that. And then it'll probably not get funded anyway because of the House Republicans. So things will continue on as their abysmal normal. I would point out one final thing, though. When your COPE article is basically everyone already hates this system, well, again, number one, you could have addressed that for some time. Number two, why is it that this level, this degree of outage has not occurred before? The last time in the United States that you had an all flights are grounded situation was 9/11. So not a computer file had a glitch, but an actual hijacking of aircraft, a terrorist attack. Well, that's apples to oranges. Has there ever been any other instance where the system completely fucked itself like this before? Because I'm not even sure. If that's the last time flights were grounded, at the very least it's been a generation. So I would think you should get on it. Knowing the Biden admin, though, they will bury their head in the sand like a bunch of ostriches, and that will be that. And the legacy media will quickly forget about it to talk about Orange Man bad. That's about all. Peace out.